What would happen if the ruler of a whole empire died and only your family knew about it and decided not to tell anyone? Well, that's kind of the main story of Cyberpunk 2077, so today's day we ask, can you beat Cyberpunk as Saburo Arasaka? Emperor Saburo rules Arasaka with an iron fist, he's the direct competition of Militech, and he's quite the clever clog and knows how to do business. The problem is, he's not told anyone anything about his personal info, and trying to build a character like Saburo, well, there's really not a lot of information out there on the internet about his cybernetics, at least in 2077. But we do have a list from Cyberpunk 2023, the tabletop, and a lot of it is more luxury for everyday life. So yeah, that's great, but the really big challenge this run is going to be not having access to a Sandevistan, Berserker mod or any of the cool cybernetic. That is going to hurt us and we're going to have to manage. However, it's not all bad news because we will of course be using the Emperor's weapons, by which I mean his swords, Nihan and Satori. They act as a weapon pair and can do something special called hemorrhaging. So if enemies are met with conditions with one of the weapons, we switch over and we damage them with the other weapon and they bleed. This also heals us as they take damage. Amazing for leveling up. So yeah, that is pretty damn cool. As for Johnny Silverhand and the driving segments, we'll play these as intended and ignore them for the most part. And of course we will have to look after Takamura. It goes without saying, he is our most loyal minion. So with all that said, let's go on to the rules. It's very simple today. We have to use Saburo's blades as our main weapon, and we're going to be playing on very hard difficulty. And lastly, we're going to have to side with Arasaka because, you know, being the Emperor of Arasaka, you kind of have to. So with all that out of the way, let's go on in. First things first, we get into the title screen, we select very hard difficulty and the corpo lifestyle, you know, because Arasaka and all that. And then we get the first big problem, which is V is in his mid to late 20s. So I try my best using a reference of a younger Saburo. You know, I kind of think we're like a failed prototype body for Emperor Saburo. Veterans of Cyberpunk know what I mean there, you know, engram technology and all that. As for our stats, well, we're going for reflexes and cool, since that plays very similar to what a old samurai with a blade can do. But then we get our first dilemma, and unfortunately we don't really have a lot of choice here. We have to use our hands to do what needs to be done. So long, silly man, you should know better than a life of crime in Night City. And as for your boss, he gets the same treatment. And then, because I don't want to edit out boobs, we see the trauma team to save the day. Thanks chaps, no editing required for this YouTuber, thanks to you. And then we go home and finally the tutorial is done. Now we're released on the world, and the first thing we must do is have a quick checkup from Victor. And we have our first problem, earning money. We need a fair amount since we can't really face anyone in combat, and we decide to alert the police, point them in the direction of some gunfire, and it turns out to work fairly well, although our pills that we found in the street are keeping us in the fight. Then we unlock the ultimate skill, driving terribly into people. Yes, this is our main way of dealing damage. We're not using a weapon. Well, Dexter Deshawn approves at least. And then we finally get an acceptable outfit. It's not much, but it's a good start at least. We're presentable now, and for some reason I think we look like Kane from John Wick, with a little more road rage and stealing from wrongdoers in Night City, the home of our empire. Get a couple of gigs where we just simply have to drop off some van in a shady spot, so thank you, Regina. Nice to know you care at least. We then meet Evelyn and Judy to say hello. So hello, Evelyn and Judy. Pleased to meet you both. And hopefully nothing bad happens to either of you. Anyway, we're going to be filling out our body perks, since that's what's keeping us alive at the moment, since we're too poor to afford cyberware. And after an hour or two, we're looking pretty good. So we sell most of the ammo we looted off enemies, since, you know, we don't need it. And we decide, since we're poor, might as well hand all our remaining wealth to Maelstrom. So we go on in. They have a little bit of manners, but also lots of weaponry, so we can't really attack, can't really comment on this. We can't run them over either, so we are forced to pay them off after a little bit of a standoff. Jackie, please behave yourself, you are embarrassing us. So anyway, we pay, and then Dum Dum escorts us out the door, says not to return. Don't mind if we don't. So we avoid any unnecessary combat, and now we're all poor again. So all back to being a broke budget emperor in the shadow. Oh, the things we do. So the best place to go is getting on with the main story, since we're so close to the afterlife anyway. And then we see Panam in the afterlife. with Nash. I wish we could kill Nash right now, but this probably isn't going to bite us later in the butt. So we have our meeting, and just like that, we see everyone, and we all plan a heist. Into the Delamain camp we go. After a brief conversation and Jackie's silly Billy big league talk, I really don't know what he's on about here, we'll go in, check in, say hello to a bartender, and after we're done, we do the story of using the Militech flathead to go on through the room. Well, it goes exactly as you'd expect. However, now it's time for us to go into Yorinobu's suite, and well, we decide to grab some very, very useful objects, mainly fashion, but then we witness, major spoilers here by the way, in case you haven't played Cyberpunk, in 3, 2, 1, Emperor Saburo dies from his son, so it's now our duty as the Shadow Emperor to avenge Saburo and do our best to make Arasaka right. I'm sure Johnny will be thrilled at our choice, but we must become a vigilante and defeat Yorinobu and push him back into the Shadow Realm and restore the honour of Arasaka. The Emperor leaves us a gift, almost like he knew we were here, so we get Nihan, a Tanto blade, so now we can attack. We also level up our cool attribute to level 9, so we can get Scorpion Sting. Then T-Bug gets destroyed, which is absolutely marvellous, because now the roof access is open. So we do what we do, and the two bodyguards, first, well, you've had better days, sir. The second guy, a Tanto to the face, and yes, fear the budget Shadow Emperor, and now we claim our weapons for the run. Nihan and Satori, ladies and gentlemen, these beautiful weapons are our bread and butter. If we make an enemy bleed with either one, we can then swap weapons, bleed with the other to cause hemorrhaging, a bleed effect that heals us and damages the enemy. Very, very valuable since we don't have any sideware to heal us at the moment. Also, Satori has a special ability to cause 100% bleeding if you power attack whilst you swap to it. This is really good, but later on we won't be using this. We have a special thing in mind, and my will it be glorious. It's going to be absolutely overpowered. We have a lot of work to do, and whilst going through the hotel, I learned the paired weapon combo of unsheathed katana, throw a knife in the face, get lots of healing, and again, we still don't have cybernetics, so we have to be very careful, but these weapons are definitely dealing the damage we want, and it goes amazingly well, so gotta love the hemorrhaging effect. This is just awesome and actually keeping us alive. What the enemy forces, whilst they are Arasaka, and it is regrettable we have to cut them down, they still cannot stand in our way, so we just have fun playing Fruit Ninja in Cyberpunk, and it's hilarious. In the main hall, it's much the same story, although a mech does take a while to kill with throwing knives, big metal thing, little metal thing. Big metal thing is going to survive very, very long, so we might as well gain all the experience we can. Also, in the car park, these silly Arasakas get many, many knives to the face. As for the driving segment, it's treated as normal, as stated at the start of the video. Same for the Johnny Silverhand sequences as well, and the same with Takamura after he pulls us out, and he knows who we are, and is our only ally in our cause. Then Johnny does his silly side note over a cigarette, so cheers Johnny, I know you hate us, but come on now, let us live please. Anywho, after all that Act 1 malarkey, we can now go out and enjoy the world of Cyberpunk in Night City. We decide to spec into reflexes since blocking bullets is a really good idea, and we begin our murder spree in our apartment building despite not having anything really of note. After clearing a crime scene in the tower, we take to the street to get some assaults under our belt. After all, we are hurting for cash, and now we can start earning cash, so not a bad idea. However, we are playing on very hard, and I will admit we get our butts whooped very, very easily, like a small toddler going into Cyberpunk. Yeah, it's very, very difficult. However, it will get easier and easier for us as we level up, and we keep grinding away slowly, getting better and better. This is starting to feel more like Kenshi than anything, but it's simply magnificent. Eventually, after a trio of assaults, we get ourselves the staple ability of this run. That is bullet deflection, ladies and gentlemen. This means when we are shot, we can make gunfire damage to the enemy, providing we have the stamina, and it's only going to get better. As long as they don't have shotguns, we're okay. And I will say shotguns are going to be a problem this run. They can one-shot us, and it's not very nice. A thing I almost forgot is you can counter enemies, and this bruiser of a customer teaches us through anger and repeatedly flatlines us. Eventually, the timing comes back, and what is pretty devastating, and for bosses even more so. Speaking of which, we try our hand at fighting a couple of cyber psychos, and surprisingly, we actually do pretty damn good since it's a 1v1 and we can counter melee very effectively, and our throw knife is something to behold for some reason. A knife to the face keeps the cyber psychos away for a day. Honestly, that would be a lot worse, so we decide to meet Takamura, hello sir, then go to a Ripperdoc to get basic side wet, nothing special, mainly just a blood pump and a biochip to monitor our health. Standard, lots of people have these in real life, so would not surprise me if Emperor Saburo got one. And, the Arasaka Netrunner because of Arasaka tech, so go figure. Then it's time to go to Clouds, we do the whole shabazz, and we find our man, and it's on to the next chapter. And yes, we must leave this place. Not fitting for an Emperor, no sir, not with silly things like this, no dear. We're making our way up the technical ability tree so we can make our healing items better, and after some work with Judy, we go to a location to get our former employer, well, the combat is getting easier for sure, and we get a sort of stealth preference before the enemy know what we're doing. We just alpha strike out the shadows, much like a glass cannon, but it gets the job done. As we go through the silly bandits, we have quite the operation going on here, and we simply cannot allow that, so every last one of them must be taken care of as the Shadow Emperor. It is our duty to remove ill-mannered people, so once the op is done, Judy is shaken but okay. So it's back to the streets to take more cyber psychos out, and we alert the man to our presence, naturally, and decide no you don't use shotgun, so decide to park a police cruiser on top of him. However, Cyberpunk be Cyberpunk for some reason, somehow, I don't know how, but he just teleports away, so thanks game. But he is a mini-boss, so we just pull our own boss abilities on him, mainly slowly walking around, holding a sword, and using his own bullets against him before pouncing like a tiger. Yes, we shall call this the Pouncing Tiger ability and just slice and dice. We've been second level up, so we get technical ability up to pro level, and we go into the Voodoo Boy's Placide. Not really one for talking, expects us to just do as he says, and fair enough, frankly, it is his territory, so we just annoy him and we go in a clown car to a well-known grind spot in Cyberpunk. Yep, everyone out there that knows Cyberpunk knows what I'm talking about, and that is Pacifica Beach. Admittedly, we do die a lot, and, well, being as, we are, we survive and get better and better. We even faced a Cyber Psycho in the area, actually. He's promptly dealt with, so we are doing excellent. In fact, we are doing so good, we decide to upgrade our crappy corporate car to a mediocre corporate car. Yes, slightly less crap. Gotta love it. To celebrate, we deal with another Cyber Psycho, and he is an ex-commando. Unfortunately, we need to get back the grind in, so we must move up from a budget emperor to a shadow emperor, making enemies disappear into the shadow realm. After getting bored, I decided to go ahead and take out the animals in the shopping centre, and we move around very quietly, taking them down one by one like a panther, distracting them accordingly. It's actually oddly very satisfying doing this, and after a lot of these barbarians are dealt with and shot at with a turret, this was a lot of fun. It's back to League of Shadows for us. They shall not know we were here, despite with half of them missing, because I don't know why they've not noticed, but they haven't. So then it's on to Matilda, the alpha, and frankly it's a bit of a funny fight, since if we block Matilda, she tumbles, so we can just stun lock her whilst our blood pump and biochip combo takes care of our healing. Well, I don't know what this is. I think Matilda is alive or something, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think a Ratatouille moment is happening here. Oh dear. So, with all that malarkey out the way, we go to Netwatch, we say bye-bye to Placide, then get ourselves in the heart of these wrongdoers. Another memory sequence plays, not PG rated, thanks to Alton Johnny. Funny that Johnny's name can be something else, and he acts like it quite a lot. But after the Johnny sequence, Alt does us a favour in the present day, annihilates all the Netrunners, and we wake up with the Voodoo Boys toasted. Very, very nice. And now we can fight our way out from within. Our plan all along. We have learned from XCOM Enemy Within, and yes, these criminals will indeed pay for their crime to the Emperor's swords. So it's more Fruit Ninja for them, and well, they do a lot of damage. It hurts like hell, but we shall not give up. Their bullets are their undoing after all. And then we do the Tiger Pound. I feel like we have unlocked a martial art here involving swords or something in Cyberpunk, but it's working, so why the heck not? As for Proceed, he knows our weakness, a shotgun, and a Sandevistan, and yes, he ends us once, but we didn't hear no bell, we can go all day. So round 2, we just keep an eye on our stamina, and we do the stop hitting yourself tactic, and it just takes off a lot of his HP. I don't know how we deflect shotgun cartridges, but Proceed's face is not enjoying this so much, so I'm all for him. He draws a melee weapon, of all things, and well, we just kick him down into the ground and proceed to pummel him and slice and dice him. So we win. These voodoo boyos are now out for the count, and another falls to our sword. We get into our car and we look like Kane from John Wick. Now that we've got some money in our hands, we have over 100k, so it's time to get some upgrades to our cyberware. Now we have our circulatory system, upgrade to tier 3, some micro rotors, they're used in many techs in our world, including watches, so I'm sure Cyberpunk can convert that into our hands and fingers, so 20% attack speed, yes please. And then we also get some new eyes, younger Saburo has one, and old Saburo has one, so that's kind of good enough for me. And then, you know, we kind of can't have a Sandy or Berserk mod as much as that hurts us, so we decide to get a Arasaka cyber deck. It will have to do, and I'm sure Saburo is smart enough for some basic net running. And yeah, Arasaka equipment, and us being the Shadow Emperor of Arasaka, you know, all that good stuff. Then we actually get a 100% confirmed cyberware, and Saburo does have a self-ice to protect him from hacks. This is quite a welcome addition, and one that's very fitting. Next is a universal booster. I'm assuming this boosts one immune system. Saburo would likely have one, stay alive a very long time, and it helps us a lot. And then we get a stabber. Kind of self-explanatory, it helps us stab things by giving crit chance. Any self-respecting blade master would want this, including Saburo, since it's very little effort to put in his body. Lastly, I couldn't decide between spring joints or bionic joints, so one of the Discord members suggested spring joints. Since Saburo is old and, well, if his hip and knee replacements are a thing, might as well go for some new joints. You know, very, very good. All our equipment is now in tier 3 or blue rarity, and that's great, but we need more. An Emperor needs the best, tier 5 if possible, which it is, of course. Many more must be faced by us, and the 6th Street Gang are no different. They are not welcome in Night City. They are a gang. We must clear their ridiculous ways of crime off the street. Immediately, that is. This cannot go on. So we keep cleaning crime off the street, as this is unacceptable. Where are their manners, people? And, you know, they've not even offered us a cup of tea. Why they do this, I don't know, but we can't simply talk about this. Action must be taken, so we do just that. Anyway, we need to get away from the action, so we go to the Badlands and begin to use vehicle weapons to destroy our enemies. Fantastic. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. Beats running them over any day. We get our apex ability, the one that changes everything. Slaughterhouse. So anytime we deflect things, the enemy bleeds, which increases our chance to chop off limbs. And if we do, we get plus 25 stamina. This combines very nicely with our weaponry, so that's a fantastic combo. So now our build is online. We then decide to say hello to Songbird, so we go to Dogtown, and she says that the president is in danger. Of course, we work for Arasaka. This is music to our ears. And the best part, Songbird gives us a very nice buff, so our enemies have weak points on them now. This is simply excellent. However, Songbird rudely interrupts us during our meeting with Takamura. This is unacceptable, yet hilarious at the same time. Well done, Songbird. And guest star Takamura, the best support actor, goes to Johnny Silverhand, quite literally. Anyway, Songbird's interruption aside, we do Takamura's meeting, this thingamajiggy, and get the parade intel stuff, so yay. Right, back to Rogue so we can continue the story. Well, we meet Panam. So we get in the car, and then after that we're dealing with people in a ghost town, but we decide to do things nice, quietly, subtlety, and most of all, professionally. Panam, like a shadow, dragging the enemy into their doom to the shadow realm. It works wonders, instills fear. It's brilliant, since they cannot see the threat and they never will. And of course, Panam just does not care, drives us headfirst into a cave so everyone knows we're here, and doesn't think to use the car's gun. Well done, Panam. This puts us in a huge disadvantage, since we're in the open with assault rifles and grenades whilst being targeted immediately by snipers. And dearie me, we like chaos, chaos, but this is chaos in a bad way. You know, you've always got to be in control of chaos, Panam, and it's the secret. So we're stuck here, and we just decide to do the bullet reflect strategy. Slowly but surely we whittle our enemies down, and well, apparently we're good against snipers, so that's really nice to know, because we can make them headshot themselves. How Shadow Saburo does this, no idea, but I've got to admit it feels pretty damn cool. And well, we just avoid the stairs, go towards Nash to make Panam happy, and she gets the living chops beaten out of her, and do you know what? Fair enough, we just, shred them like a Beyblade, and it's pretty damn cool. Panam just yells, then drinks at the motel, Panam stuff, and we decide to go get ourselves the best car in Cyberpunk. It has no weapons, but it will serve our purposes. We can't really afford a Rayfield because we don't have the street cred, money's not a problem, but we go back into the cave and find ourselves the Batmobile, the Mercman mobile. Yes, this wonderful Peter kit has an amazing colour scheme, just like Arasaka, and if Yorinobu has one of these, then so can we, but in an even better colour. And, it's really, really cool. I just love the paintwork on it, honestly, and the red glow. Oh, it's very much a Shadow Emperor car, if I must say so. And we are kind of being, like Mercman around Night City, so why not? Then there's a shotgun wielding Cyber Psycho nearby, and we just take him out, because shotgun, reflect in the face, all good, and the area is now clear. Now the game wants us to meet Panam at night. Yeah, no thanks game, it's time for more grinding. So over to Dogtown, and of course they have some amazing things we can buy to make us that little bit tougher. By little I just mean 1 to 2% stamina regen, an extra 2 HP here. Nothing amazing, but hey, every little helps and it's really cool. And because we're in Dogtown, we get airdrops. These beauties can have permanent buffs, but some of the best high-level gear, and oh my, hunting these airdrops is actually a lot of fun, and it keeps it tense and is really good. We use the enemy vehicles against them, they're just sitting there, and also our car is just brilliant to get around, and really it's a great time, and beats the Pacifica grind by varying it up. Does take a little bit longer, however, there's a little bit of a downside, but it does improve us more over time. We also help El Captain with grabbing some cars. It's just easy money and lets the airdrops reset by the time we get back, so always on the go, and I personally find that awesome in Dogtown. It just feels alive, you've always got something to do, and such a small area as well, it's really cool. And finally, we get a new two-piece suit, so now we are looking like an Arasaka executive or CEO or something. Very fitting. And now we have all the show with the car, the clothes, and we actually did buy the corpo apartment. We're very high up the corporate ladder without working in the corporations. So, we're kind of like a nameless corporate assassin or something, I don't know, just take your pick. And now we just need the gear, the cyberware, and our weapons fully upgraded. So after journeying to a gang stronghold and just literally throwing our Tanto for ages, just binning out the enemy, we get to helping our friend by facing a boss. It's very, very anticlimactic to say the least. It's just 2 bruisers and a leader who's not very intimidating. So I decide, why not face the enemy for round 2? So that's exactly what we do, and my word is it fun and chaotic, and it's just awesome. Like, why not? We go back to the board with our cyberware and we change it up a little bit. So Dogtown has some iconic cyberware, and as a Shadow Saburo we love iconic stuff. So we get an isometric stabilizer, reduces stamina cost, so yes please, Saburo's on his feet all day and this is much more in character for him. Secondly is handle wrap, goes well with Nihan, and honestly could see Saburo going for this, if nothing else, to use his Tanto that much easier, and he has it on him at all times. And lastly, we switch out for bionic joints, since they seem better suited for a war veteran of World War II, and honestly would explain why Saburo can walk in 2077. Then we upgrade everything to tier 4, and we're almost there in our final form, but to be honest, there isn't too much cyberware compared to what you can have, and honestly we're not going to change it out all that much. It's then back to our faithful grinding spot, since Dogtown is good, but the fastest way we're getting the best gear is Pacifica, so we just go on a killing spree, and what you're seeing is sped up by 4 times. This took a very, very long time, but the Shadow Emperor requires the best quality implants and weapons. We simply can't do without, and part of me was thinking of a villain in Cyberpunk, not caring about weapons, but only components to make super cyber psychos. Nice to be a cool story and lots of iconic and high level components as rewards from a shadow organisation. Anyway, prattling a bit, but just another day in Night City, really, and the plot of Phantom Liberty and, touche, Cyberpunk. After doing a ridiculous amount of grinding, we go back to Dogtown to fight a mini-boss, since our old nemesis, the Voodoo Boys, are back, and we can't let them get away with this sort of thing. So we just go say, no, thank you. You must all be rejected from Dogtown immediately, courtesy of the Emperor's blade, and how this blade survives gunfire I will never know, but sure, if it works, it works. Probably made from cyber steel or something. Anyway, boss time, and this boss is pretty simple. They do a lot of attacks, we deflect them, deal heavy damage, and then we just cut up the robots from time to time for our Tanto. And sure enough, the own robot's strength is his demise, a running theme for this run for sure. Our skill tree is looking very healthy since we kind of have everything we want, and I'm just specking into attributes that, fit Saburo's high call, max reflexes, and mid stats everywhere. Intelligence is net running, not business sense, but might as well get that up as well. And now we're starting to step into Tier 5 territory. We're a pretty good show, especially our weapons. They are maxed out to Tier 5++, as they should be. We go see Panam. She doesn't notice we've been very busy, and after 3 in-game days, hasn't moved from under the car, needs a shower, and begins explaining her plan. But through the power of editing, we can skip to the interesting part where we go in, get electrocuted from the different consoles that makes an EMP, and Panam launches a javelin missile towards the AV, and starts moaning about her plan failing due to the nomads coming to assist. Something she didn't think about. Meanwhile, we actually do something, go to the AV crash site, and decide to just keep throwing our knife until nothing moves, and our blade does excellent work against the robots with the stop hitting yourself technique. After we deactivate the big guns, we have the pilot, and we can't use guns, so we try and calm him down. It works until Panam be Panam. Anybody else notice that Panam's not a good fit for us? No? Okay. Anyway, we managed to ride some dirt bikes to a nearby petrol station, and of course we do our job exceptionally well, showing Panam how it's done, quietly, professionally, hacking turret to cover our escape. It's simply professionalism, Panam. Anyway, we find our man Helmet, and the rest of the nomads are here, which is amazing. Saul is awesome, and we ride off to leave Panam alone. And our good buddy Helmet is taken away, and we have questions, but Takamura's here, and we set off yet again. He is our minion after all, so best let him take care of Helmet, and he shall join the cause. He is pivotal in this, I must say. Whilst we're at Takamura, we purged the heretics from Night City. There are so many of them, they've all succumbed to chaos, and once more they must answer their crimes and pay. And it goes as you'd expect, we actually start getting pretty scary now. We meet an equally scary man named River. He shall be an excellent man to work with, and we unravel quite a serious mystery in Night City. It's something to pass the time, and whilst Takamura takes his time, and speaking of the devil, we meet up with him, and he's gone. So we wait for some reconnaissance to be completed as we clean up Night City once again. Dogtown has more criminals, a building has some Arasaka technology, and this simply cannot stand, ladies and gentlemen. How dare they? Where are your manners? Honestly, Night City, you all need to learn manners, at least to Takamura's level. So we destroy them in their entirety, because how dare they use our technology? They have the gall to use an Arasaka drone. This is once again unacceptable, and we show them our skills are reflecting their own strength against them. This is where we draw the line. Ignoring manners, firing at us from our own technology, just a dear, oh dear. No, simply no. So to lighten things up, we have a duel with a Cyber Psycho who is invisible, and we do our best to make the counter and just obliterate him with our sword mastery. Our opponent is wise and uses a smoke bomb, which, touche, sir, we might need one of them. The stop hitting yourself, aka the bullet deflect tactic, does amazing, but we can do a lot of finishers, and now it's back to our 1v1. So, frankly, we get a very easy thing. We just grab him and choke him out so we can get extra pay. Marvellous stuff. Our skill tree is now pretty much fully online. We're throwing weapons and swords at their peak, so we are ready to face whatever we need to. And the rest of our stats are at pro level, or we just bulk up our intelligence to 9 as, quite a reasonable stats for Emperor Saburo in his 70s. Another Cyber Psycho is just music to our ears, and these guys are actually not that difficult now. They're high level and just how hard we hit, and they also bleed all the time. It's just magnificent. The build is online, so it's brilliant. As we deal with another Cyber Psycho, making us the anti-Cyber Psycho one-man army, even Davastan Devastan, we can just deflect, counter it, actually a very powerful combination, I must say. And after yet more street combat since the enemy of Arasaka and Night City never learn, we give them Swift Shadow, Saburo, Emperor Justice. And of course, we ruin a lot of operations that they have going on. They really don't know vengeance like we do. And the Shadow Realm will be pleased today with how many are going in there. You know, the Emperor and all that. 1,000 corpses in there. We're just getting started. We're probably a villain at this point, or a Inquisitor at some point. But anyway, at this point, a cool car, money, and top-tier cyberware, we're just doing amazing. We also helped River get his nephew back, doing our good deed for the day. It's actually really unsettling having humans treated as cattle, and I'll quickly skip over this. It's very unpleasant. But we rescue everyone in the area, minus a couple of casualties. With everything dealt with, we go for a cybernetics tune-up. We get some new iconic eyes that give us 30% crit chance. Can't argue with that. And everything's now at tier 5. We've been over most of cybernetics, so everything done. Time to take out the snipers for our bodyguard, Takamori. Now, this is really simple. We don't want to kill any of these Arasaka goons. They are loyalty for Hanako and Yorinobu, and anyone loyal to Hanako cannot be harmed, so we do the humane thing, choke them all out. It's the only thing we can do since they don't deserve to die and are just serving their leaders. And, they can serve us another day like the shadow we are. You just simply don't alert anyone, use non-lethal methods, and of course, treat them fairly by putting them out of harm's way. It's the least we can do for our future subject. As we take out the second sniper, we're on a roll, and then the stair guard is distracted, so another gets choked out. Mercy is needed here when you don't know which side someone's on. And as for the third sniper, we go above the bridge, loot backgrounds, make sure we are not detected by any Arasaka forces. We can't have them be harmed, and Takamura gets it. No one should be alerted. He's an excellent bodyguard who's to be valued. And as we go through, more non-lethal takedowns, as they are technically our soldiers through Hanako or Yorinobu. Take your pick, they're our children, but then we were stored on an engram, so it is what it is. And then we finally get the last sniper. And whilst we don't have the technical ability, we do have net running, so disarm the claymores, as we can't hurt him with explosives, so down it goes. No one's come through the window, so we can eagerly get to our target, the Netrunner. Now, we have Takamura's apprentice, Oda, also a One Piece author, but he is foolish in that he believes his skills exceeds ours. This fight is actually a whole lot of fun, and I practice countering the Mantis Blade. They aren't actually that bad to counter. They telegraph a lot, so we can easily get the upper hand this fight. And it's a step above Matilda, the animal, but Oda stumbles much the same. He can't really hide because we kind of break the tactics in this fight. The bleed stats on him makes this fight very trivial, and we can just see him. We're almost like a vampire Saburo. It's hilarious. And then we unplug the Netrunner. Minimal damage to Arasaka. Love to see it. And then our loyal bodyguard subdues Hanako. And well, this is the game changer for us in the story. We then get our final visit in the cybernetics department. Now, I do go for fortified ankles, mainly because I watched The Simpsons and Abe breaks his ankle, but it also makes sense if Saburo's walking and fine, and he's over 140 and still walking, but until he died. But now we meet our two loyal subjects, and when Arasaka decide to attack Hanako, not a very smart move, and then they kidnap her. This is punishable by death. How dare they? And they even try to kill Takamura. Just no. Seriously, Arasaka, no. So we fall and then use our fortified ankles to jump. This is partially why I wanted them as well. And then we rescue Takamura and decide to just keep throwing knives in Arasaka's little faces. They group up in the hall and we just lean out the doorway, and there's just a lot of them. So it's more knife chucking until it all calms down a little bit. Then we finish them off with our melee. It's awesome. Gotta love the relic weak spot perk. And Hanako has been kidnapped by Adam Smasher. And we meet up with Adol, who says, go to the Embers. And unlike most playthroughs, we go straight to the Embers because, we want to help Arasaka. Hanako has a plan, and of course it's our job to make sure she is victorious. We get the plan together, it's all coming to fruition. The Shadow Emperor failsafe is to restore Arasaka. So we say so long to Hanako. Misty loses it with us despite looking like an Arasaka CEO or Exeter, and we go to Yorinobu's residence. Hellman does a great job here. Well done, Hellman. Not a filer, but thinking on your feet, and gotta love it. Then we begin eliminating the traitors of Arasaka, but they are a stain on this company and Hanako. And, they're holding her prisoner, so such crimes are punishable by death. That's what we do, and after a few are dealt with, Hanako calls an AV. We have a squad of true Arasaka upper crust, and when we drop down, Takamura gathers up the forces, and we follow Hanako to where we're created in the first place. And lo and behold, spoiler, in 3, 2, 1. We're alive on a backed up engram. Our story is, we are the prototype body gone wrong, or at least that's what I've given our character, and he wants to go into Yorinobu's body, a fitting plan indeed. And it's a very fitting punishment for his son. So grab the engram, Hanako can hold on to that, we go to the board meeting. It's hilarious since we're now the right hand man, and well, we know the Arasaka since they're not exactly quiet. And we just go about the place showing everyone how to use the blade. It's amazing and hilarious at the same time. Our enemy decide to mass deploy, and they don't realise we can just throw knives and then going for a dozen finishers, being like a vampire, just healing all of our damage since finishers give 25% of your health back, and you're also invulnerable whilst doing them, so this is amazing. But ladies and gentle waffles, we have the one and only Adam Smasher. If you've ever faced him in Cyberpunk 2023, yeah, you're not supposed to actually be able to take him. So, Adam Smasher is a big problem. Firstly, he can 2-hit KO us. We're not really into that, so yeah. Secondly, he has a Sandevistan better than David Martinez, and it makes melee pretty much undoable, so past 8% health. We've stuck with throwing knives, so yes, this boss fight I almost gave up. I won't lie, it was very grueling, but not quite. Yes, the insanity within had a plan, and my gosh did it work. Well, first phase is a walk in the park, just counter Adam Smasher, no problem. Second phase, the Satori is out the question. Smasher can actually one-hit kill us with a kick, and to be fair, this is in line with, well, a Night City boogeyman, so we switch to throwing Nihan and just run laps as much as we can, and if we keep moving, he can't kill us, but then there's an opening we can take advantage of, and this is key. He uses his heavy ordnance to hit us 3 times with a mortar. This is where we can backdash and throw a knife at him for a triple whammy. This works very well, and frankly is the hardest part of the fight. The next part is easy because we get more people coming in and some turrets. It's meant to be really hard, but we then just use net running skills to hack the turrets, and then we just, as the Shadow Emperor, we just KO everyone with throwing knives, allowing the turrets to deal some damage to Smasher whilst we get a fair few shots in. He goes down in HP, and we get another wall of turrets and units again. This assists us amazingly well, so thank you, Arasaka. This is brilliant. We use this opportunity, and well, Smasher is not looking great, but neither are we. However, our dash ability is really coming into its own here, since Smasher can one-shot us, and well, he smashes us from up high, but we simply dash and a couple of free attacks, and this is how we're getting the damage still. We, trying to kill Smasher with 1,000 cuts, so when he decides to start chasing us again, we memorise the timing of his shots, and his machine gun shots are particularly devastating, but the pillars are quite literally a lifesaver. And then Smasher keeps jetting into the centre, and previous attempt taught me to just keep running like a marathon runner to stay alive, so we can get that HP bar a little bit lower until we win. That's the last fight of the run, and we see Yorinobu fast forward, and we leave Johnny alone. He is very bitter, and naturally, yes, Takamura takes the process to store us once more into our Arasaka database, since Saburo was put into Yorinobu's body. So our job is done, Saburo is put back on the throne, and younger and more youthful than ever. And yeah, the Shadow Emperor playthrough, so we beat Cyberpunk 2077 and Saburo. Got to say, it was fun playing an anti-villain once more, and going into the Cyberpunk world, always love it, and it's really cool playing Cyberpunk. I will say the upgrades trying to fit to the character, we really didn't have a lot of information about it, so it's one of them odd runs where things are up for interpretation. I'm sure some would agree, some will have other ideas, but overall it's a good run. Very happy with it and can't really complain. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Take care everyone, look after yourselves, have a fantastic day and a pleasant evening. I shall see you next time. This is Emperor Saburo signing off. Take care everyone.